is to be the son of a famous filmmaker. It offers enormous advantages. You can't even imagine. Your career is just right there in front of you. Thank you. I wasn't going to be a filmmaker, is the truth of it. I grew up 2 hours away. I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up with my father's a filmmaker. He was in Reitman. He directed Ghostbusters, a whole bunch of other movies. They just started shooting Ghostbusters 3, by the way, 2 days ago. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I wasn't sure about the idea of, it's all women in Ghostbusters this time. And I wasn't sure about that idea until I told my 8-year-old daughter. She said, "They're all going to be girls? Cool! All right, that's going to work." I wasn't going to be a director, but at the time I was probably 16 years old or 15 years old. I got the sense of what people thought of the children of famous filmmakers. If you're a child of a famous director, most likely you're a spoiled brat, you have no talent, and more likely than not you have an alcohol or drug problem. And why would I go try to be a director when this was going to be the presumption of who I was? And even though I loved movies, I'm like everyone in this room. I mean, I was making, films every day with my dad's, video camera, and I was just going to the multiplex and seeing 3 films in a row. Only I was a rich kid, so I was paying for all 3 movies. I loved movies, but I was terrified about the concept of going to a job where, in my greatest success, I would succeed in my father's shadow, and in my greatest failure, it would be failure on a very public level. And so I went to college, and I went to pre-med. It's silent, but that's actually the funniest joke I'm going to say tonight. I wanted to, sorry, does this come out? I feel so weird at this podium. I'm just going to stand here if that's all right. I wanted to be a doctor because no one questions why you become a doctor. Right? No one's like, doctor? Really? Why? And so I went pre-med. I'm a bright enough guy. I did well in high school. My SATs were good. But I got to college and I was basically failing out at pre-med. Turns out I would have been an awful doctor. And my father came to visit me at school. I was in upstate New York. And he took me out to dinner. We went out to this diner. I still have the menu from this diner, actually. He said, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm scared. And he told me the story, and it was a story I'd never heard before. It's a rare thing. It's a storyteller. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors, and they came to Canada with nothing. They didn't speak the language, they literally had nothing. They escaped. They survived Nazi Germany, and then they also survived communist Czechoslovakia. Very tough as Jews, and they escaped. Literally, my grandfather hired a boat, and he paid him off to lift the floorboards of the boat, and they hid in the floorboards of the boat to escape. They came to Canada with nothing, and once in Toronto, my grandfather had a dry cleaner, and then he had a car wash, and my father, at around the same age, when I was 17 years old, went to Quebec. And in Quebec, he discovered these submarine sandwich shops, not like Subway the chain, but just like, foot-long sandwiches. And they were wildly popular, I guess, in Montreal. And he came back to my grandfather and he said, Dad, we need money to open up one of these sandwich shops. We'll have lines going around the block, we'll make a fortune. And my grandfather, who really did nothing in his life but tried to provide for his family, said to my father, "Look, I'm sure these sandwiches are very good, and if I gave you the seed money to open up one of these shops, we could make a lot of money. And your mother and I would be very proud of you. But I don't think there's enough magic in it for you. You need to find something with magic." And it was literally on that advice. My father went to college on a music scholarship. which is kind of fun to think about. If you've ever seen an interview with my father in the future, my father used to be in a folk group with an acoustic guitar, and I have photos, and it's amazing. My father went to college, music scholarship, started a film club, started making short films, started making feature films. He actually produced with David Cronenberg films, weird-ass movies in the 70s, and then finally made Animals. That was his breakout film. So my father told me the story. We're in the diner in upstate New York, and he said, look, there's no more noble a profession in the world than being a doctor. If you wanted to be a doctor, you truly, look, you know, there might be over the moon for you, we'd be so proud. But I don't think there's enough magic in it for you. I think you're a storyteller, and I think being scared is not a reason to do anything. And it was on that advice that I went back to Los Angeles. I walked the head of admissions at USC to her car, and on the way to her car, convinced her to let me into the school, and literally said, help me come home. And she bought that shit. And my father went down in history as the first Jewish father to ever tell his son, don't be a doctor, become a filmmaker. This is a really special city for me. Palm Springs is a place that showed my short films. This is now a long time ago, right? Got my features play here. I come back for the gala that they do at the beginning of the year, which is beautiful, and I hope for every one of you to come to it and wear a tux one day. It's very exciting. And it's also a place that I write. There's something magical about this city. I'm sure you felt it walking around. And it's not just the extraordinary heat. It's something that is akin to Joshua Tree. When I'm here, it reminds me of being a child and submerging in the bathtub and the way my ears sounded when I was underwater. Like there's half the frequencies don't play in Palm Springs. Because of that, the brain is clear. And it's because of that I write a lot. I wrote a lot in the air here. I wrote a lot of Labor Day here, men, women, and children here. And I'm writing right now. It's one of the reasons I'm here this week. I thought, oh, that's a great opportunity to come out here and write. I'm envious of you guys right now. This is the most exciting moment. It may not feel like that right now, but this is it. This is the moment you'll think about 10, 20, 30 years from now. In the way that people think back about college. I think people often wonder, oh, is it at this film festival that I'm going to meet someone who has made it, who's going to kind of give me a leg up, and that's how I'm going to be discovered. What you're going to realize one day is the most important people you'll ever meet in this business are the people in this room right now. The people you're sitting at a table with. My best friends today are people that I met at film festivals like this one, going to Aspen ShortFest, going to a Houston festival called American Short Shorts that went to Tokyo. We couldn't believe it. Flying short filmmakers to Japan. People I work with. My opening titles, I'm really proud of the opening titles of my film. They were done by two filmmakers that had short films at the same time as me, and all my opening titles have gone on to be great animators. These are the people who make movies with, and these are the people who each kind of step up one at a time and give each other leverage to make it. There's also a strange feeling, and there's always this feeling that you're waiting for that moment for someone. I remember thinking, as soon as I made the short film, you have to remember, film festivals for me were very important because I was trying to escape the identity of just being my father's son. I wanted some sort of kind of democratic environment where my films could play and I could just go head to head with other filmmakers. I could just be not hiding right from some but me, the director, in the room. I imagined, all right, at some point at being this film festival, there will be the agent, or there will be the studio person or executive who is going to kind of give me that leg up. We'll see my short film, and that's when I will make my step. And I'm here to tell you today that strangely never fucking happens. Even right now, like I'm coming off of two films that did not do well. It's really funny to actually hear my biography right now, because I'm at that moment where it's like, you made these 3 films that you love, and then there's a couple you've never heard of. And to me in this moment and goes, oh, here's the Lego. No one ever does. You're waiting for an agent to come and help give you a career when the truth is the agent is waiting for you, the executive is actually waiting for you. That the only steps come from your own creation. It is what you write and what you create that will give your career lift. And your agent's not going to bring that to you, you are going to bring that to your agent. Best advice my father ever gave me. Best advice I've ever gotten from filmmaking. This is something to think about. One day you're going to get in the rut. One day you're going to be on set, you're going to be in a cut. Things aren't going to be working. You're going to be freaking out. You're going to be running together. Day before my first day shooting on Thank You for Smoking, my father called me. And he said, just remember, your only job is to protect truth. It's not your job to know what funny is. It's not your job to know what's dramatic. It's not your job to know what's scary. Your barometer for comedy will never be as good as your barometer for honesty. You know when someone's full of shit. So when you're on set, ask yourself, does this feel honest? Is that dialogue? Is that something that someone really said? The way they come to the room, the way they sit down, the way they leave the room. That t-shirt, is that t-shirt honest? Because you always have a sense. On set, you will always lose sense of what is funny. You'll always lose sense of, oh my God, is this dramatic enough? Should they be crying more? Maybe they should be crying less. Maybe this is over the top. You'll never know. You'll always know what feels truthful to you. And I'm a little all over the place here, but I'll finish with the story. When I was writing Thank You for Smoking, I desperately wanted Sam Elliott to play the role. I couldn't imagine another human being playing that character. It's just what pictures I wrote. I'm sure as you guys write, there's actors that get in your mind and you never kick them out. So I sat down with him, and I begged him to play it. We sat down for 3 hours, and he liked the script, but he didn't like, in the movie, he plays the Marlboro man who's dying of lung cancer, and the main character, Nick Miller, brings money to try to shut him up. And in the end, his character takes the money. And Sam Elliott didn't like that. Sam Elliott is the same person that he plays on screen. He is the noble cowboy. And he just said, why don't I just throw the money back in his face and tell him to fuck off? And I made this whole argument about how that's what made it interesting about him playing the character, that he's noble, and sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes we don't make the right choice. He ended up going for it, and he had one caveat. He said, you know, in the script it says I show up the door with a shotgun. Seems a bit much. I said, okay. Were you thinking like a pistol? No, like a rifle. Okay, sure, we'll get your rifle. And we get to the set. And as is, as you guys all know, when you're directing, you have a whole movie in your head. You have like a million things, and it's impossible to keep them all straight. I remember my first AD coming up to me and saying, oh, they need you to go to our department truck. They need you to pick Sam's shotgun. I completely forgot about it. I start walking over to the art department truck, and Sam is there. He's waiting at the truck. And there's 3 guns on the back of the truck. And there's 2 shotguns, and then there's a rifle. And I thought, oh, thank God, the art department, they just came up with options to save my ass. I point to the rifle, and I said, that'll work. He said, yeah. Do you need them to show you how it works? No. It's my rifle. I said a bunch. Any questions? It's a lot easier if I know you want to hear it. If you don't, you can go out eating bacon and eggs. I won't get offended. Yeah.
Where do you find your inspiration writing female characters and the depth you put into it?
Where do I find my inspiration for writing female characters and the depth they go? Have you spent time with women, sir? So here's a fun fact about my life. When I was 16, I started dating a woman who was 26. And I moved in with her while I was still in high school. those 7 years. So I think at a young age, I spent time with this woman trying to figure her out. And I think that's where it came from. That's the honest truth. So tell your children. Happy Father's Day. It'd be great if they only one that to walk away. Anything else? Yeah.
The film you're writing now, what is it about?
I'm writing 2 movies right now. One is a live action film that I'm not going to talk about. It's an original, and I'm still about halfway through it. The other is an animated movie. This is a whole new process. I signed up for an animated movie at DreamWorks. It's called People, based on a children's book from Alpha last year. It's an extraordinary new process. I'm sure some of you are animators who are you, but for me, I mean, it's like relearning filmmaking. For animation, you make a movie 5 times in a row. I mean, this is a movie that comes out in 2019. Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Do you shift gears consciously on a project or pivot from being a writer to being a director?
Do I shift gears from being a writer to a director? I think in my personal life I do. As a filmmaker, I don't think I do. For whatever reason, I always thought, as a young filmmaker, I thought, well, no one's going to give me the screenplays I want to direct. I have to write them myself. And as soon as I started writing them, I just remember thinking, all right, well, I have this idea. I want to make the audience feel a specific way. I'm going to have to write it, I'm going to have to direct it, I'm going to have to cut it to get there. And for me, that was all just part of one process of having an idea and getting it to the audience. I think in my personal life, I'll change. It was confirmed by loved ones. When I'm writing, I'm very insecure, and when I'm directing, I'm impossible. And it literally, it goes from, being at dinner and being like, I don't know what I want. I really want this. I mean, are we at the right restaurant too? I'll have this, she will have that, and then just my personality shifts. Yeah.
Any big differences in process of the ensemble cast and the children perspective
The question is the difference between directing a film like Young Adult, which really centers is really over the shoulder of one character versus an ensemble like Men, Women, and Children that follows 12 characters at the same time. I'll say the trickiest difference is this. When you're making a movie, Think of Smoking and Men, Women, and Children were both ensembles, and it felt like every character only had 2 scenes. So we had to nail those 2 scenes. When you have a movie where the main character is it's all one person, it feels like we drop a couple things. You always know that a couple scenes aren't going to quite fit, not quite work. And that's a lot easier when you're following one character. I found an ensemble, somehow, it's strange to tell their whole story. It's funny, I just started working in television, and I directed the first 2 episodes of the show that I'm producing. The Colin Estabrook, who's my co-producer on Whiplash, and a guy named Reitman. It's his first thing he ever wrote, he created it. And that was a huge lesson in ensemble storytelling, where you have to tell beginning, middle, and end on their first, second, and third scene, and there's kind of nothing in between. Yeah?
You didn't direct Whiplash, so what attracted you to that project?
Whiplash, I read the script of Whiplash. Helen Esper found the script, and it was extraordinary. It was wonderful, but it was an impossible film to make. There was no way to say, it's Full Metal Jacket at Juilliard, give us the money, it's a hit. And so Helen suggested, why don't we go make a short film? And she put together some money, and then we made a short film. And the short film was basically 3 scenes from the feature film. You've seen the feature film, you've seen any trailer for it. It's where you're rushing over your dragon scene. And it's an extraordinary scene. And it was an amazing short film. The short film, it was an amazing short film. It went to Sundance, won Sundance. We found financing for the feature in the interim months, and we brought the feature literally 1 year later, back in and won the festival again. truly the extraordinary work of David, the director, was Robert himself, who did all the insert drumming himself, who got to a car accident during the shooting, like the main character, and kind of bled for his movie.
But Blumhouse, who's noted for horror films,
Yeah.
was involved in that. How did they become involved in a picture like this one?
You know, Blumhouse and my producer Hal Hesterbrook both found the script around the same time. They shared a love for it. They said, let's work on this together. They, you know, we all chipped in on the short film. We all chipped in on the feature. Yeah. You work with many extraordinary actors. What's different about working with them than unextraordinary actors? It's interesting because I started out doing commercials, and when you direct commercials, the actors are props. You literally just go, the star of a commercial is the product. I'll never forget my first commercial was for Ricky. I was like 22 years old. I directed this Burger King campaign, and they looked at me and they're like, oh God, who did we hire? And the guy from Burger King walked up to me and said, he was the best advice ever. He said, look, Jason, you may have the take of your life. Lighting's pristine, the camera's exactly what you want, the actors are pitch perfect. If the Whopper don't look good, we're going again. and that's commercial director. The Whopper don't look good, we're going again. So the big difference then is simply on set and make it smoking, and Robert Duvall is there, and Bill Macy's there, and Aaron's there, and Ray Bell. And I was terrified. I mean, frankly, what do I have to say to Robert Duvall? I mean, what would give me the ego to think that I have a note for telling him? And what happens is, it goes back to the thing I said earlier. I watched the tape, and it was something that felt dishonest. And then the real trick of directing is, how do you manipulate people? And everyone's different. And that's the real lesson. Is over time, learning the person that you're directing, and how do you manipulate them to do the thing you need. Some people need a speech, some people need one word. Some people, line 3 is the one they're struggling with, you give them 10 notes on line 2. Some people you just have to relax. And the universal thing that I learned, and this is taking me just getting more comfortable, is don't give them any notes before their first take, because you'll never get that honest reaction back. If you give people notes for the first take, you'll never know what they were into. And you can always correct it. The better you get, you realize you can kind of get them anywhere you need within 5 takes. 10 takes on that. So, see what they're going to do. Maybe it's brilliant, maybe it's awful. If it's awful, you'll start pushing in the right direction. And then you just have to realize what kind of human being they are. I mean, it's a game of psychology. Manipulating the audience, and manipulating the actors to manipulate the audience.
How do you balance writing, directing, and having a family?
The most brutal Father's Day question. How do you balance writing and directing and having a family? I don't think you can. I think that's the truth. I think life is filled with enormous sacrifice. And the reason you guys are already in this room is because you made certain sacrifices because you love the film so damn much. It's not easy. Making a film is hard. It's hard to explain that to people who've never done that. It's nice to talk to a bunch of people who have done it because you know it's believing in something that you think everyone will tell you is crazy for believing in. You know the actual amount of hours, the amount of anxiety that comes with it. And it's tough. Frankly, it is, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And I had a child like that. I probably went off and made those. And he found a way, but I don't think there's any easy answer. I mean, even if I had a year to think about it and try to write a book, I couldn't be able to answer that question. But I think the first step would be, acknowledging that there is real sacrifice if your work is going to be something that you really love, and I don't think there's a way to do this job without loving it. Hope that doesn't sound very hot.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, just tell your dad that he was my inspiration to being here today because I love Ghostbusters. But I wanted to ask you, where do you think film is heading with all the changes in technology?
That's a great question. Where do I think film is heading as far as technology goes? Look, first of all, you guys know better than me. I kind of snuck in. I kind of snuck in at the last second of a certain way. I really admire, I was a teenager at the right time. Tarantino, I was in high school when Reservoir Dogs came out. I was, in high school when Robert Rodriguez wrote his book. And when also, Spike Jones was making all these cool videos and everyone wondering when he was going to make a feature. And Alexander Payne showed up, and Sophie Coppola showed up. And it was this kind of wave that happened in the 90s that really emerged out of film festivals. And something different is happening right now. The wave is just kind of pressing. It was Coppola who said the next Mozart is going to be some girl from the Midwest with a video camera. And it hasn't happened exactly yet. I think we all know it's just about to happen any day now. So, you have the first generation of young filmmakers who are making films on a regular day the way that one could just grow up playing guitar or drawing. And they're becoming much more sophisticated filmmakers. The short films I saw when I was in high school and college don't even touch the short films that I'm seeing today. The visual sophistication, the understanding of editing, the understanding of tone, we're flying forward. The real question is, what's going to be the distribution model? Where do you watch movies? When I talk to people in the film business and I ask, what happens to my movies, right? Because there's really indie stuff and there's events. The word they love using is event. Is it an event? I remember hearing a studio executive explain to me once my boyhood was an event, and that was kind of delightful. But I don't know, but it's exciting. I think it's my best answer. I just made a series for Hulu. It's going to come out in October. They have real money to make this show. It's 10 episodes long. It's like anything I've seen on TV. It feels like one of my movies, but it's on television. You can go make a film right now for online, reach millions of people. Wow. I said peoples. So it's an exciting moment, and the truth is you guys are going to figure it out, not me. I'll be copying you guys. Guys, I wish you luck. I wish you so much luck. I think it's incredible that you've got as far as you have. I think it's a huge achievement that you're in this room today. To make a film alone is so hard. To make a film that meets thousands of others and gets you here is extraordinary. It really means you were a group of people. It's a few hundred people out of the billions of people on Earth who know how to tell a visual story. It's so difficult. I applaud all of you, and I really hope that you get to do this for the rest of your lives. Nice to meet you guys.